Hello and welcome everybody to this learning webinar. I am thrilled to have here with us today Megan MacNeill, who you may also recognize as Relevant Megan, a gin advocate, absolute adorer of all things gin, chai lattes, mum of an awesome little legend, and many other things actually when I start thinking about Megan. Megan has been a large ambassador and contributor to the Future Female Leaders community basically from its inception. She's one of those people who has just been in our corner, helping us, encouraging us, and sharing skills with us. You may have seen you may have seen Megan also help at our pitch night where she's asked some incredible questions, started challenging our thinking on all things social impact as well. So welcome, Megan. Thank you so much for joining me to share your knowledge today on all things personal brand. I will, before I hand over to you, remind everybody that Megan is an absolute personal brand gun. She has used personal branding advice, information. She's been flying that flag for many years here in Perth, had to start her personal brand here in Perth after moving from Scotland. And I've seen Megan work magic with lots of people's personal brands. So that's why today I wanted Megan to be the one walking us through all things personal brand, in particular with a flavor for LinkedIn, because when we're a little bit younger or perhaps new to using the platform, it can feel a little bit intimidating. That's okay. It's normal. It feels like that for all of us. But Megan's got some great tips today to help us understand exactly what the platform's all about, how we can start using it, and we'll have a bit of a conversation around some tips and things like that. Well, I will stop talking. That felt like a really long introduction. So welcome, Megan.
I want to meet this Megan. She sounds awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I can guarantee she is.
Okay, so today we are going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn in I guess, through the lens of personal branding, which is the only lens you really should look at LinkedIn through, in my opinion. Any social media channel should be considered to be a digital extension of yourself. Anything that you are doing in person, if you're bringing it online, you've got to remember it is a reflection of that person that people meet in the real world. So we're going to look at LinkedIn because that is my personal favorite, especially when it comes to career development, getting started in your career, getting known for what it is that you love, what it is that you do. And we're going to have a look at your profile, how we're going to be able to convert that into not just a landing page that sort of has just your name and a nice picture, but actually when someone lands on it, they're able to say, oh, that's what this person does. So we'll talk about setting up the profile, and then after that, how do we actually start using the platform to be able to create content that goes out onto the feed that people are going to be able to find, share, and be able to engage with as well. So, a little bit about me, which I think Emma has pretty much covered all of that. I am from Scotland, that is what the accent is. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Kua Rentals, which is an Indigenous business. I'm a LinkedIn enthusiast, fierce advocate for gender equity, which is why I absolutely love what Emma, Karen, and Claire have been doing with Future Female Leaders and have been such an advocate from the start, because I just think that a program like this is such an amazing opportunity that you might appreciate it at the moment, but in about 10 years' time, you're going to be like, wow, that's amazing that I've had that opportunity and where it's actually put you. So these are the building blocks for your career right now, even though you haven't even started working. It's quite amazing.
Hey,
So,
Megan, just before we move on, I'm really intrigued. I love the fact that you introduced yourself and you told people about you. You didn't just share information about your work history and your skills. Is that something that you always recommend to people when they do introduce themselves, especially on the online world?
oh, definitely. I mean, when you're looking at LinkedIn, people do look at that as a career. It's about your work. That's the space for that. But your personal brand is far more than that. It is every facet of you, and you have got different components to it depending on who you're speaking to and why you're speaking to that person. The person you are with your friends is not the same person you are with your work colleagues. I'm not sure if any of the girls are actually working yet, maybe like small part-time jobs, but perhaps at this stage you are working with your friends and it is kind of still fun, but maybe with your boss, you have got a different persona. And it doesn't mean you're a different person. It just means that you know when to switch which parts of you depending on what it is that you need. And it's not a selfish thing. It's not a narcissistic thing to be, what I need, but you need your boss to like you in order to keep employing you, and they need someone who is going to be good behind the counter and is going to be good with their customers. Whereas with your friends and your family, you're a more relaxed version of yourself, and you're probably a bit weirder, and that's cool because the weirdness about you is what makes you special. But you might not show that to your boss, and you might not show it to your teachers, etc. So you have got all those facets to yourself and everything that you like. So all of the girls that are going through this program will have had to have gone through the same schooling, in the sense that you've had to do maths, you've had to do English, you've had to do those basic subjects, but then you've branched out and you've taken things that are of interest to you. They might be things that are going to take you into engineering, or they might be things that take you into something more creative like marketing. You'll go in a different direction. You might have different hobbies outside of school. Some of you will do horse riding, some will play sports, some of you will do painting, some of you might be into cooking. That's what makes you different, because if you just look at the things that you've all had to do, all sit in a class learning the same stuff, there's nothing different. It's all the other bits that make you interesting and make you different. And that's the stuff that even when you start writing your CV, they're the things that people are going to look at and go, oh, that's cool. You play the piano? I play the piano. That's something that might get you over the line. So you've really got to lean into your personal brand to get ahead, I think.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I think we get so caught up in who we think we should be and how we should project. And whilst we need to be appropriate for the environments that we're in, and we need to be respectful in different ways, I think there's nothing wrong with showing some of that personality. And really, it's the personality that's memorable.
Oh, completely. It's completely like it's something that someone can have a conversation with you is what will keep you front of mind and keep you being the person that someone keeps coming back to. And when they've got an opportunity, you're the one that's going to get it. So yeah, you are far more than whatever it's not, I don't know what you call the grades that you get in school here. It's completely different to what I have had in Scotland, obviously. But however many A's you get or what university you get into isn't what's going to define you forever. It's just a part of your story. So just remember that there's so much more to you than just whatever grades you get.
Yes, love that. Thank you.
All right, so why LinkedIn? So LinkedIn is the most trusted social media platform out there. This is the best sort of infographic that I've got from the Business Intelligence. Like they do it all the time, and it's been ranked number one since 2017. It's still the same, as they just haven't put out new infographics, but it's trusted. It's something that people feel like they're part of. It's like more of a community, whereas a lot of people find that, like, if you're looking at Instagram, it's very much creator content, and it's just going out to the masses and about gathering as many likes as you can get. People don't trust the platform as much, as in, like, what are you doing with my content? Whereas LinkedIn seems to have that trust factor that other platforms don't have, and that it protects your privacy, which I don't know, like, when we start being concerned about that, but at some point in your life, you kind of go, oh, who's got all my data and what are they doing with it? So it's a platform that is trusted. So people are putting quite good content on there, and you've got people who might not use other platforms on there as well. In terms of for lead generation, and this is not just for lead generation for selling things, this is for selling yourself as well, for getting hired, for being able to get sponsorship money, for being able to, it's not even just sponsorship money. For instance, when you're all looking at your projects, you need people that are actually in the industry to be able to contribute to what you're doing, whether it's mentoring because it's already been done. And, at 16, 17, you don't know that it's already been done. There's lots of things that you come into the workplace and you have conversations with people in a different setting, and you go, oh, okay, someone has done that. But you are able to come at it with a different angle, with fresh eyes. So just because it's been done before doesn't mean it can't be done again and it won't actually work the next time. But just being able to have that insight. So being able to find the people who are going to be able to contribute to your projects, to your career, to how successful you are in the long run, you're going to find those people on LinkedIn. Em and I were talking just before we came on here that, perhaps the age bracket for LinkedIn, it might feel a little bit older for you, more mature, because the average age is sort of 24 to 46, I think it is. And, that's the age bracket that we're in at the moment, which we find is the sweet spot for us. But we are in the middle of that sweet spot where we're able to offer opportunities to the next generation, which you are. So that is where these people are sitting. So if you are going to be on there as a younger person, you're already starting that network much quicker so that when you're ready, people have already seen you. You're already networking up. So when we talk about networking, and I know that you do a lot of networking stuff within the Future Female Leaders program, that there's networking in so many different ways. You can network in a room in person and go up and shake hands with people and tell them about your project. You can network online as well. And the amazing thing about LinkedIn is that you can network up, not just side to side. So when you start your career, whatever you're in, there will be an association that will have, if you're in engineering, it'll be Engineering Australia will have events for graduates. If it's marketing, there'll be a graduate program, whatever it is, and you'll meet your peers. But when do you get the opportunity to be in a room with people that are above you? LinkedIn, they're all there. So even though that age bracket might not seem like it's for you at the moment, it's giving you that edge where you're actually networking up far before your peers.
I think it's such a good point, Megan. And also to keeping in mind that when we say networking on LinkedIn, it doesn't mean that you have to be actively reaching out and talking to people immediately. Just having yourself a presence and a profile, or getting familiar with the platform, reading what other people are saying, that's building up your own confidence. But just having that profile there is a really important part, because sometimes when you are going for opportunities, in whichever form those opportunities are, they are looking to find out more about you. So they're going to LinkedIn and they're looking for you. They're going to your other social media platforms as well. And that's a conversation for another day. We actually do talk about that a little bit in the program, is making sure that we're projecting the right brand wherever we are. But LinkedIn specifically, not having a presence on there can actually lead to some lost opportunities down the track when you're ready to start actively going for it.
Oh, completely. I know that in my office alone, so if I just talk about my working career, if anyone emails into our office or phones into our office, myself, my boss, my colleagues, we will look them up straight away. And it's LinkedIn that we're interested in. If we land on their Facebook or their Instagram, we're not too interested. It actually gives us a glimpse that we don't actually want. But if they don't have LinkedIn, or they're not particularly active on LinkedIn, we do kind of go, oh, are they really for us? Or the other side of that is, oh, they're connected to a lot of people that we know, they're fairly active. Oh, they're in the space. Like, it's fairly obvious looking at that profile, they're in the space that we're working in. There's someone we want to actually spend our time catching up with. Because you do become time poor when you get further into your career. So when you're at your age and in your 20s, like, you say yes to everything. Like, you should be saying yes to absolutely everything, meeting as many people. You've got the energy. Like, you can last on 6 hours of sleep. Well, we cannot. When you get older, people's time becomes much smaller because that demand on it from other people is much higher. So you want to be that person, that the CEO of ABC company who's going to be able to help with your project or be able to launch your career. You want them to actually look at your LinkedIn and go, oh gosh, like, there's a lot of promise in this young person. I want to meet with them. So it's an amazing digital platform to be able to basically project your real self online for someone to be able to make a quick decision as to whether they're going to actually spend time with you or not. I know it sounds really cutthroat, but that is the world as you get older, unfortunately. It's just time seems to slip much quicker. And then talking about content, that's another thing that's brilliant with LinkedIn, is the fact that of all the users that are on there, very few are actual content creators. Like, they're creating content on a regular basis, which would mean, something going out once, maybe twice a week would constitute as regular, unlike any other platform. Whereas if you've got not posting nearly every day, that you're not regular. So to be able to create that regular content is one thing, and young people are great at that. Like, you've all grown up in this world where you're creating content. Other generations aren't so much, but what they are doing is they're consuming that content. They're still on there, they're scrolling through that feed, and they're looking for really good content that's going to be of interest to them. Now, you might not be able to put anything out there that is going to be new knowledge to them, as in something they don't know about their industry already, but you might be able to be posting something that they haven't thought about before and a direction they haven't thought about before. And that's what will get someone who's going to be able to employ you, give you an opportunity, to support your projects, etc. That's what you're trying to grasp at this point, is just trying to get someone who is in I guess, a position of power to be able to help you, to notice you. And that's where the platform's amazing, if you can create great content to show, like, I think if you even just looked at your projects and you used that as your content for the next year, you'd be onto a winner.
And I think sometimes it's a matter of remembering that you don't have to educate people with your content. If anything, you're reminding people what's important to you, what you care about, what the types of things that you're interested in by posting anything at all. So we don't have to, sometimes we get intimidated. We're like, oh, I don't know if that's going to be good enough. Is anybody going to learn anything? They don't have to learn anything. This is about you representing what is important to you and what you are spending your time reading and focusing on.
Oh, completely. And you will still teach someone something, because you'll no doubt, you'll frame it in a way that they haven't thought about before. And that might be actually really helpful for them, because we're all so caught up in our own jargon. Once you go into your career, you're just so full of people that are similar to you, same kind of jargon, that you kind of think everyone knows what you know, and you forget that people don't. So to be able to see things from a different perspective is actually really interesting as well, I think. Yeah, there's lots of ways to look at it. But it's a great opportunity. If you can make fairly regular content, which is once a week, you're doing pretty well. So if we look at our profile, you are given this amazing landing page that you can basically enter any of the information on that you want to, and you can leave out anything that you don't think is particularly important. It is like a digital billboard, one that you get for free, so you should make use of all of that space. Now, the picture you're seeing at the top just now, I'm not sure whether Emma and I are maybe covering that. I'll maybe...
No, we can see it.
Oh, you can see it? So that's what people will see when they land on a LinkedIn page on a laptop. So not on your phone. On your phone, you see something similar, but it's just condensed a little bit differently. But that's essentially the information you will find, which is, first of all, your picture, what you're interested in, like what it is that you do, where you've been. So like on mine there, you can see relevant. Relevant's my business, so that's where I work. The Australian Institute of Management is the last education that I have put up there. Otherwise, it would have been my university. You would have your school there. That's quite a powerful thing, even that I found over here in Australia, is that if you're from a certain school, someone will look at that and be like, oh, I'm from that school network. So that can also give you opportunities. So you should lean into that, but also don't be scared to put your school up there worrying that it's not going to give you the opportunities, because you've got far more to offer than just that. You've also got a tagline so that you're able to sort of put a one-liner out there to kind of tell people what it is that you're interested in. So we'll look at your profile, connection, engagement, and then content. And we'll look at it in that order, because the profile is the most important, because you want to make sure that landing page is ready before you start connecting with people. Because if you start shooting out connection requests to people that you want to try and engage with, if they land on your page and they can't really make out head nor tails as to what it is that you're trying to do, or why you're trying to get involved with them, you're more likely to get a decline. And then we'll talk about engagement, which is actually starting to engage with other people's content that they're already putting out. And by that point, you're then ready to start creating your own content. And it's in that order purely because if you just go straight onto LinkedIn and you start creating content, if you don't have any connections, no one's going to see it, no one's going to engage on it. If you haven't got a profile and someone does see that content and they come back to your profile, there's going to be a disconnect where they're like, what's this person and what are they talking about? So yes, it's just to try and do things in that kind of order. So first up, I'm just moving our head again. our profile. Once you've set, so I'm assuming everybody has LinkedIn now, Emma. You said that the girls were all setting that up.
Yeah, that's actually part of the requirements of the signature program, but we do
Yeah.
have others in the community that have perhaps not gone through that program. So there will
Yep.
be some people perhaps watching this who have not set up their profile up yet.
Okay. So hopefully after you've watched this, you will run out there and you will set up your profile. And the first thing is your headshot. Get a decent picture. We don't want any selfies. We don't want anything where you're with lots of people, nothing like that. It has to be a really clear image of you from about your shoulders to the top of your head. Mine's slightly lower. There's me with my coffee cup, which I would generally recommend against having no props in your photo, but something kind of small like that you could probably get away with. But it has to be really clear and it has to be something that when someone meets you in person, they don't double take and go, hold on, that's not the same person. And I'm just hoping that with me and my cold right now, you're not looking at that picture being like, gosh, she's very different. Always a stress. But yes, you want it to be recognizable because there's nothing worse than if you have a picture up there and you have got short, blonde, spiky hair, and then you actually do get a meeting with someone and you've got long brown hair. Because one, they're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable that they haven't been able to recognize you, and also they haven't been able to recognize you. So when you go over to them, they're going to be like, hello, who are you? So there's all that kind of stuff. Your name is the next most important thing. And I know that that sounds really silly because when you set it up, you have to put your name in there, but it is actually really important in the fact that it follows you everywhere. So once you start creating content and you start engaging, your picture and your name is going to be everywhere that you are engaging. And that's the thing that people will start recognizing. They'll start seeing your face and they'll start seeing your name. And if they're seeing it over and over and over in a certain area, they're going to start thinking, oh, that person's actually adding quite a lot of value to this area of expertise.
Mm.
And
It's
then
certainly
below,
not the kind of platform that you use an alias or
no.
I still see sometimes people not putting up their full last name, like they just have Emma B, which is it's not really effective for this platform. This platform is about people connecting with you and it being clear that that's who you are.
Yeah, until you're Beyonce, you have to keep your full name up there.
Love that.
Yeah, so because that's what someone has to be able to recognize you with. And, when I don't know how many times, and like obviously I'm a bit older and I've been using LinkedIn for a long time and I've been networking quite a lot in Perth now. But I will go to things and I'll be like, oh, hi, I'm Megan MacNeill. And people will go, oh, I've seen that name.
Mm.
Because you have been networking with people even when you've physically not been networking with them. And it's like anything that you try and sell. And essentially, we are trying to sell ourselves every time we're looking for an opportunity, or even if we're looking for friendship. Like you are still trying to sell yourself. It's just, unfortunately, that's what we call it. And you have to have so many touch points before someone wants to buy that thing.
Mm.
Now, that buying something doesn't always mean that you're going to give cash over. It's time. Anything is buying something is just using some of your resources. So if you've already had quite a few touch points with someone before you physically meet them, you're ahead of the game. It's so much harder to come in cold than it is to have already had some of that like happening already in the first place. And I've got some friends that I've met on LinkedIn, like business friends now that I've met maybe 3 times in person. But every time we catch up, it's as if we have known each other forever because we engage so much online and we pass so much business back and forth online to each other that I've got people that I've recommended over to someone else who they know each other better in person now because they've gone and done stuff together. So you just need to really remember that this digital online platform, it is a digital extension of you. It's a way of being able to manage your time much better. So when you're sleeping, your LinkedIn's still working. Your name is still out there working for you. So yes, there's a lot of power in your name. Then after that is the headline. Under there you would put, at this stage, I would put something about the project that you're working on because that's your area of interest. That's maybe something you want to be known for. Or if you definitely know that you want to be an engineer or you want to be a doctor, put something in there that you're an aspiring medical surgeon in I don't know, something really bizarre that you're interested in. Make it really specific, make it fun. Because, like we were talking about earlier, your personal brand is what makes you a little bit different, what makes you interesting, what piques people's interest. So put that there. You don't have to be it yet to put it there, if that makes sense.
Mm.
You are students. People aren't expecting you to put up there that you are, that you're the marketing assistant to Coca-Cola. No, you don't have to put something like that because you're not that yet, but that's what you're aspiring to. So by telling the world what it is, and I guess it's a little bit woo-woo and it's a little bit like with your journals and you write it down and you're kind of putting it out to the world that you want it. You can do that on LinkedIn as well. At the stage that you're all at, you can do that because you can say that you're aspiring to XYZ. I would use that space for that. And bearing in mind that you want to keep it short and snappy because that, along with your face and your name, that's following you everywhere on LinkedIn as well. Every time you comment or create content, your face, your name, and that little line, or first part at least of that line, is going to be on the feed as well. So that's the three parts of you that will go all around LinkedIn, even if people never come to your profile. So they are the most important ones.
Or you can see how that gets a bit hard. You kind of go, oh, I'm just going to think about this some more and overthink it and then never do it because that seems like a lot of pressure. But I really love the idea of saying advocate for or ambassador for something like that, driven by or caring about something like that. Or if you are already in the career, then definitely start pulling it back to that current career that you're in. So very quickly people understand if you're leaving a comment on something or somebody's tagged you in something, they understand the connection there.
Yeah, you can use that for whatever you want. That is your space to make the world understand a little bit more about you in a professional way. Okay, and then after that, we've got your header, which at the moment you can see on mine, it says performance, and then it has some of the things around it that I work on. And that is just basically a free billboard that I have online for people to see straight away what it is that I am interested in. If you have an amazing picture of your cohort from future female leaders, stick that up there at the moment if you want, especially one of the ones that's got the banner in the background so people can see that you are part of that association, that you have gone through that program, because that's amazing. There's people out there now who are looking at the future female leaders for being able to cherry pick girls when they're ready to actually come into the workforce because they know the kind of training that you're all getting. So use that to your advantage. Don't hide that you've been part of this program. Don't be shy about the fact that you've had extra training from compared to anyone else. You have gone through the process of applying, you have got through, you are there, you're in it, use it. If not, it's kind of just a waste of having that amazing opportunity. So that's a picture you could put there. You could put a picture that's to do with the program that you're putting together, your project. It could be absolutely anything. At this stage, I always tell people don't put just a nice landscape or anything. But if you want to put a landscape at the moment until you decide what you want to do, that's fine. Just don't leave it blank. There's nothing worse than going onto a LinkedIn page and it's just blank. It's kind of like no care, no love went into this. So put anything there, but there's some suggestions of how you might tailor it to be you. Another great one, I know that when you do your pitch nights that Emma and the girls, they all have great pictures taken of you. Have a picture of you public speaking, because public speaking is such a hard skill. And I'm always amazed every year at when you go to pitch night and you see all of the participants speaking, and then you see all of you at the gala dinner, like it's like chalk and cheese. You do great, and then you do amazing. And that is a skill that will take you so far through your whole life. There's people that are in their 50s that just will have not had opportunities in their careers because they are so terrified of doing public speaking. And public speaking is not just being able to speak in front of a big crowd in an auditorium. It's also just being able to speak up in a board meeting of 10 people. So that skill is invaluable. So if I was to see a picture of someone public speaking on their what on their profile? I'm like, what are we on now? On their profile, I'd be like, wow, that's a skill set they obviously have. That's brilliant. Okay, so I know I'm kind of really kind of focusing in on that, but it is kind of important because this is where people land. And then your location, that's the other part that people will see. That's good because it means that someone, depends what your project is, but if your project is local, then people locally will know that they're able to help out with it or get involved. If it's more global, then you're obviously, if you're reaching out to people, you're going to have to say, hey, I'm working on it here, but it's going to have an impact where you are, sort of thing. Okay, we've talked about this already. Headshots, not a selfie zone. It is something where you are looking straight at the camera, you're smiling. I think some of them, you probably get pictures taken all the time as part of this program. If there's cameras going around, get in front of them. Always make sure you get in front of them. All right, your featured section. This is going to be another great part for when you're working on your projects, because if you're putting things out, so actual content that you want people to keep coming back to, so we'd call this kind of evergreen content. This is content that's not just for just now. It's something that someone can look at in a year's time and be able to kind of go, oh yeah, that's really interesting, or it's a thought piece that's going to kind of go into the future. Being part of the Future Female Leaders program is some of that evergreen content where you want people to know for quite some time that you've been part of that program. So putting things like the pitch night, the gala, anything to do with your projects in there is where people will also be able to come onto your profile and have a quick look at some of the stuff that you're working on or that you're involved with. And also, because of some of the people that are involved with the Future Female Leaders program as well, it's quite recognizable now, especially on LinkedIn. So if people see that brand on your page, they'll be able to kind of go, oh, I know Megan, I know Emma, or I know Kristen, or someone else that's involved with it. And they might know your mentor, they might know someone else's mentor, and be able to kind of find out a little bit more if they are interested in knowing more about you if you've reached out to them.
So the section's kind of like on Instagram, the pinned section. So when people
Yes.
first land on your profile, if they had to see a couple of things, this is what you want them to see. Funnily
Yeah.
enough, I find with my pinned ones or featured ones on LinkedIn, they're usually the announcements that I've made that have the greatest interactions, the most number of likes and everything, because it's something important that I've made some kind of announcement of in a post that's got lots of attraction because people are interested and they go, oh, I want more people to make sure that they don't forget about this part, that post that I've made. So I'll feature that one on my profile.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you want to have stuff that I guess shows you. We might go on to we'll go on to LinkedIn maybe if we've got time afterwards, we can have a kind of look around of what it kind of looks like and stuff like that. Now, the other thing is recommendations. These are things that's basically third party people saying, wow, this person's great. If I was to come up to you and say, hey, I'm Megan and I'm awesome, you'd be like, okay, cool. If Emma comes up to you and goes, oh my God, you've got to speak to Megan, she's awesome, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I'm interested, hold on. And you'll want to look for me. This is what third party recommendations do for you. So, teachers, your mentor, people that have been involved with the Future Leaders projects or any of the hobbies that you're interested in, your piano teacher, anything like that, anyone that's had any connection with you that could comment on your skill set that will be used professionally, you want to get recommendations from them because they're little tidbits that people can have a look at and go, oh, I know that person, or oh, she's got the head teacher of such and such a school saying this about her. When you start looking for sponsorship for your projects or even just support for your projects, that will help you. When you're looking for a job and you've got your CV out there in the world and people start looking at your LinkedIn, people will look at this stuff. And there's no way that you can fake these recommendations. So if I give you a piece of paper and at the bottom it says, you know, A, B, and C have said these great things about me, well, you've just got to take my word for it. Whereas on LinkedIn, because of the digital footprint, you then click onto that person and you see who they are, you see where they work, and you see their credibility, and it adds to your credibility. So your personal brand is very reliant on other people's personal brands as well, which is quite a scary thing.
You have 45 received recommendations. That's huge. I never see that many recommendations that people have received. How do you have so many?
Well, I was an early adopter of LinkedIn. Like I was using it a lot even in Scotland when people weren't using it here. So when I came to Australia, nobody was using LinkedIn. So I already had a few from back then, and I just have used it since it sort of came into vogue, I guess, in Australia as well. So I've been able to pick things up. I've also worked in a space where these recommendations have been important to me, but I have found that working with people, they've been quite valuable for them as well. So it
Mm.
sort of became a I came to a new country, so I needed help. I set up my LinkedIn. I got my CV designed when I moved over here because it was so new. I had no connections. I had to really start from scratch. So it was something that I had already started with. And I found that people were actually looking at them and it helped me. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that
So
has
were
a
you giving recommendations to other people first and then asking them to give you a recommendation? What was the tactic to actually build these up? Did you have to ask for them or did people naturally just go and do it?
I had to ask for them, but I wasn't always giving recommendations out for them. It wasn't a quid pro quo type thing. But that's the importance of your network and also your connections. Because if I said to you, Emma, oh Emma, would you mind writing me a recommendation on there because I'm going to Australia and I need all the help I can get, or oh I'm going for a new job and I really want to be, I want them to know that I'm really good at public speaking. Can you just talk about that? And then you'd probably say yes, because we have that connection. Like that's our network. My personal brand now is that you trust me and you're like, yeah, I'll do that for you. So you build it up. I did not go out to people and just say, hey, can you write a recommendation that says this? Because who's going to do that? So it's very
Okay.
much about building up those relationships. Now, you'll have those relationships if I'm talking to your participants. You've got those relationships with teachers. They trust you, they know you, they want to support you. You have got teachers that are already working on your behalf to try and get you into the university or the programs that you want to. Some of them will have written recommendations already for you to get into the Future Female Leaders program. So there's people that do want to help you and support you because they care about you and they care about your success. And that is where the recommendations come in. These people are, I'm really lucky that these people are people that I've worked with or helped in some way and they want to help me with my next thing as well. So that's where it's really important. And you don't want to it's not that you don't want to upset people, it's that you don't want to use and abuse people. If you are literally just saying, give me, give me, give me, give me, you're not going to get. But you've given so much already to be able to get it in the first place.
Yeah, I think that it's a really important part to remember that you can ask and you should ask. So
Yeah,
you've done a group project together. The people in
yeah,
that group can
yeah,
attest to what it's been like working with you,
yeah.
mentors, other people that you work with. If we have to be proactive about this, and it really does make a big difference. And thank you for the reminder because I have not been asking and I need to make a bit more effort in that space.
Yes, you do. This was just for you. Other features that you might be interested in, there's like live videos, there's like it's like an Audible kind of thing. It's almost like a little podcast that you can have on LinkedIn. You can turn on creator mode. I don't recommend that you do that unless you are going to be constant with your creation. So that means at least once or twice a week you're going to be putting out content. Otherwise, the platform kind of goes, hold on, you're not really a creator. You're kidding me on. So you will be penalized. So only turn it on if you are planning to create lots of content. And then you can also actually, you can't edit your profile video anymore. That's something they took away and I should have taken that off. Sorry. So I'll skip to the next one. They
That's
did used to
actually
have
it's a good point. The features change all the time. Like just because something could happen before doesn't mean it can happen now. So it is
yeah,
good just to keep an eye on what's coming out. I follow a few
yeah.
people who post about updates on LinkedIn to LinkedIn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it doesn't all roll out at once either. They will test it with people. So you might start seeing people doing different types of content that aren't available to you. And that's the platform testing it because if people are enjoying that type of content, it'll get rolled out to everyone. If they're not, then it gets rolled back in. So yeah, you've got lots of different options when it comes to content creation, which is another reason why I love LinkedIn. It is not just for video creators, it's not just for people who love taking pictures. It's absolutely everything because you can have text only, and that would be like really short and snappy. It will not get you much engagement, but you can do it. Or there's articles, which is where your thought leadership really comes in, and you could go to town with your projects on here and schoolwork that you've been working on. Like, if you've had to do a research project at school, why not turn that into an article? You've already done the hard work. Turn that into something that's really interesting and create that content, because that stays on the internet and it grows with you. And it doesn't have to be amazing. And in 10 years' time, you'll look at it and you'll go, oh gosh, what was I thinking? Doesn't matter because you started then. Whereas if you post your first one in 10 years' time, that's when you've got another 10 years before you look back and go, oh, what was I thinking? So yeah, get on these things as quick as you can. Image and text, that's your best bet for just getting started. It's a little bit of text, but you want to have an image with it. It's something that is relevant to what you're talking about. You see a lot of people using AI now to create graphics to go with their text. I don't love or hate that. I mean, AI's got a part in everything. You're probably all far more savvy with AI than we are because it's just part of your growing up. This is just part of your life now. It's a little bit new to us. You know, that's fine. At least there's something there that's going to pique someone's interest in order to read what you have put out in the first place. People have a really short a really short attention span. Even as older people, we do have a shorter attention span. So we want to have something that's going to catch us in the first place. Videos are brilliant, and LinkedIn now is really favoring that same kind of style of video that you have on Instagram, so that like long version. A portrait long version, which is easy because you've probably all done that a million times. You've probably done it in a more fun way with friends on Instagram or Snapchat or any of these other programs, but who's to say you can't do it on LinkedIn as well? And with all the training that you're getting, especially with speaking, you'll be able to take like a short video. You'll be able to do that in your sleep. Like, it'll be so easy for you to be able to do like an almost like an elevator pitch and in 10 different ways just to do with your project. That would be amazing. And also do a testimonial about future female leaders. Do that. Do it publicly on LinkedIn. Like, I'd recommend you all do that because so much goes into that program. And although it's I guess advertised through your schools for your cohorts or to be able to apply, it also means that people like me and the businesses that we work for have to fund that because you don't pay a penny for it, and that's really important. So you being able to, that's one little tiny 30 seconds you can give back, which makes me as someone who's wanting to fund the program go, oh wow, this is amazing. But also I'm looking at you going, wow, that's what it turned out. Like, that's the kind of girls that are coming out of this program. How do I hire her in 4 years' time? So yeah, if you only do one video, make sure by the end of the program it is a video about future female leaders and what you've done. Documents. So if you want to put something up there that's a PDF, so it's something you've already created, you can do that. Polls, newsletters, you'd need to have a bit of a following before that would start to work for you, but it's certainly something you can start. People start blogs. There's like there's a lady who's got the Eat Tins. What's her name? I've got her cookbook. She's amazing. But anytime you put in a recipe that you want into Google, like more often than not, hers will be the first one that comes up now. And she's got 2 cookbooks out. Now, she started doing that and had no followers, but she still kept doing it because she was passionate about it. So if you want to start newsletters, articles, videos, whatever content you want, and you're thinking, oh, nobody's looking at it, just keep going. Just keep piling it up. Someone will be looking, and then the right person will be looking. So find that content that you like creating and just keep going with it.
For anyone who's watching this video in our community, if you've been to any of our events, if you've been through the program, you get photo albums shared with you. You have photos to post. If you think to yourself, I can't post those because it was a year ago, absolutely you can still post them. You can just put a different story to it. It could be something about flashback to this, or something reminded me of this the other day. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be right now. And I
No.
just wanted to check too, Megan, are we going to be able to share these slides with everyone later as well so they can have a read through these do's and don'ts properly when it comes to creating content?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
I'll make sure they'll be shared with the video so if they can have a read through those.
Yeah. And you can always go onto my LinkedIn page to make sure you can see what not to do because, it's like anyone who spouts about these things, help everyone else do it, but you're always terrible at doing it yourself.
No, no, no. You're a great role model on LinkedIn as well.
So yeah, so the ones that are in blue are the ones I would recommend that you use. They're the ones that get the most traction. They're also kind of the easier ones to be able to start creating in the first place. So it's not too labor intensive and you go, nah, not for me. So an image and just a quick kind of overview of what they are. Image and text would be something like this, a little bit of content with a picture, behind the scenes, relevant information. That's what you want to be sharing there. Posts about client wins. Well, that would be maybe more to do with your project wins, or if you get someone, like if you get a sponsor on board, or if you manage to get a meeting with the CEO of a company that's working in the space that your project's going to be helping in, I would be posting about that. And don't be scared to say, hey, can we have a quick picture? Like, just do it because you know what? That person is going to be like, oh, yeah. So definitely do it. Insights from your industry. So, in the insights, although you might not be working in that industry, like I've said time and time again, you are going to have a different perspective. Put it out there. You might want to also use it for polls. This might be helpful for you when you are doing your projects and trying to get some more information or research into your project and what the industry is thinking or what people are interested in. If you created the poll, you'd maybe then need to, because you might not have the contacts already in your connections, you might need to send it to people, being like, hey, do you mind just like answering my poll? Or sending it to some people that you know are interested in this or are also working in this space. Don't be scared to do that. People want to help, and a poll is one question. You're not asking them for a 10-minute survey, it's just a question. And polls tend to do quite well on LinkedIn anyway. They do get a sort of preferential views. LinkedIn seems to like them. And then videos. If you can make videos, and you are the generation that is brilliant at making videos, so use that to your advantage. And you can probably edit them all so they're fancy and like things shoot all over the place. Do that. Make them engaging and get your information out there. Now, I'm just going to talk to you quickly about a couple of real life case studies of people that have been using LinkedIn and what it's actually done for them. And based on very few posts, we're not talking about someone or anyone here that will be posting every single day or posting too much about their own personal lives, anything like that. So this one is based on 1,600 followers, which might seem a lot at the moment when you've just started your own page, but that will very quickly, I mean, by the time you've added everyone from school, you'll have that. And this is based on weekly posts and a combination of images, text, and articles. A couple of polls in there as well. But as you can see, it's all very much about the exact same stuff. This person is talking about mining, they're talking about Indigenous business, they're talking about their own people, and that is all that they talk about continually. So what's happened there is they have now been able to go up, and I think he's now got about 3,000 connections that he's got on there. He's been able to win work that was much bigger than what the business actually was, because there's just that trust. If someone can see you and they can see a lot more of you than just, oh, here's what I sell, they understand a bit more, they find you more approachable, they will just engage with you, you will just get more opportunities. So that has worked for him. Same with this person. This person has a few more followers, a little bit more successful in his career at the beginning of this. But his was very much not about winning business, but about getting a message out there, which was about gender equity as well, believe it or not, which was around this changing the game idea, where he wanted to really highlight women who were doing things that were different and were in male-dominated areas, or just some like just trailblazers basically. And he felt that as a man, he would be able to give them a platform that they might not be able to give themselves, which is completely true because unfortunately, you have all these female advocates for you, but it's males that are going to have to be able to make change as well. So, and they also talk to their peers, so that helps. So he used his platform for that. Now, because he was so consistent, he was able to grow his connections, which means he's able to share that message to more people because it's not about those matrix where the vanity matrix where it's like, oh, I got more likes than you, or I've got more connections or more friends. It's not about that. It's about how many people you're able to get your message out to, and the right people. I would much rather that you had 100 connections and those 100 people were actually going to be able to engage with you, or interested in what you're saying, and are going to be able to give you an opportunity, than you've got 10,000 followers on there and nobody's interested. It's silly matrix. So LinkedIn is far more about that quality over quantity.
Mm.
And he's been given public speaking opportunities to be able to further that message. So it came from his podcast now onto the stage, onto radio interviews, and he's been able to pen some blogs and articles and stuff for third party things as well. That's massive. For me, it's massive because I'm interested in what it is he's speaking about, but it is just massive that the platform is what's created that for him.
And Megan, on the quality over quantity piece for LinkedIn, what does that mean for us growing our network and accepting connection requests? If somebody sends us a connection request, do we accept it because we know that we don't have a very big network? Should we, even if we have a tiny network, should we be checking to see if this person is actually somebody that should be in my network? How does that work?
Oh, 100%. When you get if you get a connection request, look at them. If you see their name and you recognize them and they've got their little tagline and you're like, oh, yeah, definitely want that person, click yes, fine. If it's someone who's completely unknown, click on their face and it'll take them to their page. Then you can have a look around and then you can evaluate whether that person's for you or not. You will get a lot of people from Nigerian princes that will want to connect with you and promise you the world. Like, it is like any other platform on the internet. Given half the chance, someone will exploit it. So it's up to you to protect yourself on there as well. So don't accept everyone willy-nilly. You shouldn't be putting anything too personal on LinkedIn. It's very much about that professional arena and the things that you're doing professionally. So you wouldn't put on there, oh, I'm away on holiday this week. You wouldn't say I'm out at the bar tonight. Like, and it's not something where you need to be posting as it happens either. You can post about something a day or a week later and it can still be relevant. Whereas on Instagram, it's very much about, like, especially in the stories, like we want to take a picture now and want to share live where we are. You don't want to do that with LinkedIn. You really want to try and protect yourself. And if you do go on holiday, like, it's less important, I guess, just now because you're not in the workplace. But if you're in the workplace, you wouldn't put, I see people doing it, but I wouldn't personally recommend putting out, oh, I'm out of office for the next 2 weeks. Because that then tells people that you're out of office. If you are looking after other people, managing other people, they can then take advantage. Like, people can replicate email addresses and be hacking, or they can be doing stuff and they know that you're not going to pick up on it as quickly because you're out of office. You're not there. So you can schedule posts on LinkedIn. So if you're not actually going to be there and you're overseas, why not schedule a post in to come out at that point about an event you went to the week before you left? So yeah, you don't want to give too much away on LinkedIn that's going to let anyone know where you are at any given time, or too much personal about you that they'll be able to maybe know your dog's name and the first street you were born on, so that they can guess your password or anything like that. So it's slightly different in that sense, but at the same time, be careful when you're accepting people, and they'll be careful when they're accepting you as well, which is why that profile is so important. Where's your picture? If you don't have a picture, people don't trust it. And Emma, you're probably the same. If you don't recognize the name and they don't have a picture, you're not going to accept it because you're thinking, who's this person?
No, I sort of have a guideline for me where, because quite often it'll be people that I don't know. Because it's not like Facebook or Instagram where you're connecting with your friends. It's not that world. It's people that you don't know. And so that's quite normal that you don't know them. But for me, it's, do I want to know them?
Yeah.
Do I actually want to run into them? Am I likely to speak to them? Are they swimming in the same circles that I am? So there's reason to be connected. So I'll
Yeah.
go to their profile, I'll see who else are they connected with. If they've got similar, so I can usually make out from the mutual connections. Oh yes, they're in the leadership and diversity space, or oh yes, they're in the marketing space or the diving space, whichever space. So then I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Or I have a look and see if it's somebody who is doing some research project on something in somewhere completely foreign, it's got nothing to do with me. I'll go, that's not somebody I can ever see myself having a conversation with. So
Yeah.
no, they're not going to form part of my network.
Yeah, especially when that's the only information someone is giving you when they're trying to connect. If you are just going on someone's page and you're like, oh, that's the CEO of this amazing company that might hire me in 10 years' time, and you press connect, well, that person is only going to look at what you've provided them. So if your profile hasn't been filled out, you're behind the eight ball straight away. But also, when you click connect, it says, do you want to add a note? Always add a note, because you've got to remember at your stage, you're the underdog at the moment. You need to be able to tell someone why you're trying to connect with them. When you're higher up in your career, it might be a little bit more obvious and you might just click collect, or click collect. No, we're not collecting anything. Click connect, and it might be a little bit more obvious to people what it is that, why you're connecting, or they might have met you somewhere, heard about you, or vice versa. So at the moment, take advantage of the fact you can put a couple of lines there being like, hey, I'm working on this project and Emma suggested that I reach out to you. You can name drop. If someone has said to you, go and look out for Megan, say to them, Emma said to me, I need to speak to you, Megan. Because then I go, oh, well, if Emma said it, I'm going to speak to you. Tell the person why you're trying to connect as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful one. I'll often say, oh, I see that you work in marketing in Perth. I do too. We probably will cross paths at some point. Would be great to be connected on here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So I'll just bypass that one. It's just another kind of example of it's less is more, and making sure it's very consistent. If you're working in marketing, you've generally got your three pillars of content that you're always talking about. Try and stay within that. Your pillars of content are going to change. You're so young. Ours change. Like, I know that I talk about different things than I did 10 years ago. They will change, and don't ever feel like you can't change what you're talking about. And you must stay in the same lane just because that's what you've been building up, because you'd be really surprised how people will adapt with you, because they come with you as well as what it is you're working on. So yeah, this is just another reminder, but I will share these slides so you don't need to take a note of these again, but just the kind of content that you can be working on. And that's pretty much me.
Oh, there we go. Time flies.
Well, I wasn't sure if we would have time for questions
Yeah.
or not, but I know we're now not doing questions, so I thought we could have, but that's okay. I do have a couple of books I wanted to share with the girls as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that might be helpful. The first one is
Actually, Megan, just
Platform.
stop sharing your screen so we can see
Oh,
that book
sorry.
nice and big.
Stop
Because
sharing.
there's a lot of information in a lot of books, and sometimes it's hard to know which ones to actually spend the time to read. So I want to see these.
Okay, excellent. So, Platform, this is all about building your personal brand. It's just a really nice book, easy to read, that will help you kind of understand a little bit more. Because obviously, this is very quick and it's just me kind of giving you my opinion, but this gives you time to sort of digest why your personal brand is so important and why it's so personal to you, why you need to take ownership of it. Because you've got to remember, if you don't brand yourself, someone else will brand you. You are essentially what anyone else says about you. How to own the room. This is brilliant. I think this is really important, especially because you're doing a lot of public speaking, that being a skill set that you're working a lot on within this program and school, etc. Written by a woman in the UK. It's also a little bit hilarious. I think so anyway. Our generation will definitely think it's hilarious. But I would recommend, that's an easy read. Building your story brand, building a story brand. Now, yes, this might be a little bit more for marketers and about an actual business and branding like a product or something. You are a product. Like, there's no two ways about it. You are a product. You are trying to sell yourself. Your personal brand is basically your story around that. This is just another nice book to be able to read how people do it and kind of take little bits from that. Same with this one, The Successful Speaker. He was also on the podcast, one of the first ones during lockdown. Awesome guy. It does talk about public speaking, but there's an awful lot in here about personal branding as well. And to be able to, although he's trying to refine your speaking pitch or your speaking deck, it's I take a lot of that from just day to day, the way you speak, the way you present yourself, and being able to hone in exactly what it is. Those three pillars, honing in what are your three pillars that you want to talk about. So I will I'll share the name and who they're all by with Emma, and she can share it with you. But they are four books that are fairly easy reads if
Yeah.
you're into reading or
Absolutely.
audiobooks.
I think a couple of those books are also on Blinkist, so you
Oh
can
yes,
listen to the condensed version of the key points, and then
yes,
I usually listen to those. If I think it's good, I'll get the book, I'll read that, and then sometimes even
yeah.
go as far as audiobook as well, all the different forms.
Oh, I love an audiobook, especially for non-fictions.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we know that learning and understanding things is one thing, implementing is a whole other thing. So things really happen, the magic happens in the implementation. So we just want to make sure we've got this right. If we don't have a LinkedIn profile already, create one.
Oh yes.
Absolutely, without a doubt. There is a negative connotation with not being able to be found. It's like, what
Oh
are you
yes.
hiding? Why
These
can't I
days,
find you?
yes.
So yes, you need to be on there. It needs to be set up and optimized in the best way so people get the best first impression. So do
100%.
those two things.
Yep, and same with if you think about anything, like you want to go to a restaurant and you Google it and it doesn't have a website, do you want to go? Or if it doesn't at least
Exactly.
have an Instagram and you can't see what they've got, how's their smash
Exactly.
travel?
Yes.
Are you going to go? You're the exact same.
Yeah.
If
So
people want to see
set
you.
it up, optimize it. If we're already on there, go back and have a look. Am I doing the right things? The next one is to start building your network. So building your network, what that looks like in the space of future female leaders and our community. Oh my goodness, we already have a community. Go and replicate that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
First point of call is the FFL Community Hub online. Log in, go into there, see every single person who set up their profile, go and find them. Their profiles linked to LinkedIn. So
Oh,
you can go and find them. You can hit connect. You can just put a note with that connection request to say, "Hey, I see you're in the FFL community. Would love to connect on here." That's all it needs to say. You will
yeah.
automatically start building that. So go and connect with everyone. If you've been a participant in the program, definitely with everyone who's been in your cohort or the members. It's in your participant handbook. Links to LinkedIn. You will see links to LinkedIn everywhere for that reason. Okay.
Yes. Love
So
it.
that this also applies to all of our community members, our mentors, everybody else. Connect with each other. Absolutely do that. Then the next part is regularly putting out content. So if we're brand new to this, we're really not.
No, Emma, before we've even done content, we need to start engaging with other people.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yep.
Okay, I missed that step. So engaging with other people, scrolling through our feed and
Scrolling through our
actually
feed.
going,
Yep.
"Hey, that's cool. Emma, oh yeah, cool. It was great to see you at that event." Or, "Wow, I didn't I'm going to keep an eye out for the next one." Or,
Yep.
"That's a great thought, Megan. I hadn't thought about that." Like just
Yep.
small comments like
Adding
that add up.
value. Yep, definitely. Adding value, getting your name involved. It's kind of like, because we still talk about LinkedIn as being a digital network. If you walk into a room and people are talking, you don't just stand there mute. You come and go, you add your 2 cents. So when you're looking at that content, they are all conversations that are happening on that digital space. Go in, add your content, say, hello, here I am, and get your
And
name seen.
okay, and even before we start adding comments, because I know comments can feel a bit daunting, we can maybe just start with hitting a reaction, like leaving a like or a clapping emoji, like something to just get us started, get people seeing in the notifications that you actually interacted with one of their posts. So we can start to just
No, that's
warm it
too
up easily.
basic for your girls. Too basic for your girls.
Ah!
If it was anyone else, I'd say yeah, sure, but your girls are way ahead of that. They are going to go straight in. They're going to dive into
Yeah.
even just a sentence. They're
Do
going
you
to
know
do it.
what? Do you know what I do when it comes to LinkedIn content comments? And I still do this. I started doing this years ago. I scroll through what other people have said, and then I'm like, okay, cool. And I just sort of reword something similar.
Yep, you can start
Because
doing that.
I just sometimes I'm
Yep.
like, I don't know if I'm saying the right thing. So I'll just have a look and get a gauge as to what other people are saying.
Yeah, you can always tell when it's something I'm passionate about because there'll be a paragraph on there. But other times it might just be looking great, Emma. But yeah, your girls are way past the reactions. They're gonna go looking great, Emma. At
Yeah.
least they're gonna get started straight
Yeah.
away. I know that. I know it.
Okay, you're right. We do have a pretty epic community of
Hmm.
women. Okay, so we've got that one. And so we're going to start interacting. And then we're going to start thinking about being in the habit of how are we being seen? Are we contributing? Are we sharing our thoughts, sharing what we've been up to on a maybe like as a bare minimum to get us started? We have to be realistic here. Maybe aim for once a month. Like, can we just get something on there once a month? So it becomes a bit of a journey of our careers, a journey of our learning, what we've been
Yeah.
involved with. There's always something, and it doesn't have to be a photo of you. It can also be a photo
Oh,
of the environment that you're in, other people that you're with, a pen and a paper. It doesn't have to be you all the time. So just something maybe once a month as a routine habit to get you into that regularity.
yeah, it's just getting that content started. And the other night at your event, Claire talked about a brag book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like your LinkedIn is a little bit like a brag book that might not be quite the same in the sense that you're going to write down oh, someone said this awesome thing to me today, but it is definitely got the same kind of concept where it's going to be a kind of timeline of your career from school onwards that you can look back on. And these things, it's kind of like Facebook memories, you know how when they pop up and you go, oh, that was a great thing, I'd forgotten about it. If you start documenting right now, this is like your little digital brag book, I reckon. Yeah, get it started now.
Yeah. And then the cream on top, the cherry on top of the cream is being proactive about asking for recommendations. Hey, we've just done this together, or you've seen me talk, or I've done this or done that. Can you just write me up a quick recommendation on LinkedIn? Please, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Ask, be bold, make a bold
Yes.
move, get out
Bold
there.
moves.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Megan, thank you so much for your time today. This has been such a good introduction for those who are new to the LinkedIn platform, but also a really good reminder and a bit of a mindset reset when it comes to using LinkedIn for our other community members as well. Such a powerful platform. It's not that intimidating. It's not that hard once you get into it. I can understand and I completely empathize that it is how it feels when you first come in. But I can guarantee to everyone, once you start getting into the groove, it is worth it. And your career and your personal network, your professional network will really start to thrive. So thank you. If anybody wants to reach out to Megan, please do so via LinkedIn. Of course, you'll also see Megan in our FFLP hub, our online hub, so profiles in there too. So Megan loves to chat. She always loves to hear from people. She is very invested in what we're doing and very, very passionate for helping women and other sustainable businesses succeed. So please do reach out. Thank you again, Megan.
Thank you. This has been fun.
Good. That's what we go for. See you soon.
Bye.